Coming up on today's Locked On Senators, Jakob Chychrun has arrived. Now what? We'll deep dive into the kind of impact we expect number 6 to have in his Sens debut and beyond.
And from a new Ottawa Senator to a veteran one, Ross, as Derrick Brassard celebrates a huge milestone playing in his 1,000th game tonight.
It's going to be at Madison Square Garden, where plenty of memories have already been made. The former Ranger now back to Ottawa Senator. Huge milestone. We'll get into that and more. Game day preview. This is the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Welcome inside episode 747 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller in the Bay, in the Cape of Cabo, Mexico. We're recording live on location and here to break down Jakob Chychrun's arrival. I did a full hour yesterday with Aleems Martian and Jack Richardson, but everyone is waiting with bated breath. How did you find out about the trade, and what was your immediate reaction, Pillzy?
Well, Ross, I was literally on the plane in Houston on my way to Cabo to meet you, and I get a ton of notifications. Twitter is going crazy. I'm like, oh, okay, the Sens made a trade. No, the Sens made the trade, the top defenseman on the market they acquire. And Pierre Dorion, when I saw they made the trade, Ross, I was a little nervous. I was like, okay, who of Ridley Gregg or Shane Pinto is going the other way? We're losing one of our prize prospects. No prospects, no players off the roster, just picks. And Ross, screw picks. I'm sick of picks. Give me players. It's time to get going. And Pierre Dorion listened to his veterans. Derrick Brassard pleaded to him. We feel like we deserve a reward here. He made a promise to Claude Giroux that he would get a defenseman, and he got it done.
Later on in the show, we'll get into Pierre Dorion's press conference, some great Pierre Dorion moments in there as well. Tyler Kleven, untouchable prospect, the K-Train at Nodak. We'll get into that later, and the full game day preview. Sens in New York tonight for game number 1,000 for Derrick Brassard, but an enormous game for both teams. Patrick Kane expected to be in the lineup for the Rangers. This, by the way, is Locked On Senators for Thursday, March 2nd, and we are extremely happy that you make us your first listen each and every day, especially when breaking news goes down. You know we'll have immediate reaction for you on our YouTube page and in your audio podcast feeds. Locked On Senators, Monday through Friday, and when news breaks. We'll see you in the postcast tonight. We got a great day. We'll touch on our travels afterwards. We got a lot of interest on YouTube. We appreciate everybody for that. But I've been trying to appreciate Jakob Chychrun for more than the big name trade acquisition. We're doing some deep dives. Dmitry Filipovich posted a great in-depth article on elite prospects. This guy is a defensive stalwart. I think a lot of people look at the points. They look at the year where he's just scored a ton of goals, but he's a lot more than an offensive defenseman.
Well, and that's just it, Ross. He's everything the Ottawa Senators are really looking for. They're looking for a guy with size, a guy that can move the puck, a guy that can defend well, a guy on a good contract, a guy with term, a guy in his mid-20s. Like, really, other than being a right shot, but that's not the end of the world, he checks all the boxes. And Pierre Dorion, this is someone that he's been targeting, he mentioned, for like months. Like, did he say 18 months? Like, this has been going on a long time, and you got to give credit. I know we wanted to move on to Chychrun as a player, but I just want to give credit to Pierre Dorion, the patience and being able to say, look, if your price is going to include Ridley Gregg or Shane Pinto, we're out. And that's that. And then the Arizona Coyotes, they're running out of time here. They know they had to move him. This is when he's at his peak value. So they come down to Pierre's asking price, and he gets it done. And this decor goes from being kind of an embarrassment with Nikita Zaitsev playing on the top pair to now being a complete decor with so many different options. Like, you tweeted out the different possible options, Ross, and there's some that I like more than others with the D pairings, but I don't hate any of them.
That's a far cry from what it was not too long ago. To put it in perspective as well, Jakob Chychrun is 2 years older than Jacob Bernard Docker, who we still consider a prospect and one with potential. He's 24 years old, but he's got 373 NHL games under his belt. That's what making the NHL at 18 years old will do. We'll get in, though. There is a little concern about never playing a full season outside of the 56-game COVID year. He's had some injury battles in the past, but this year, since coming back from off-season surgery when he made his debut, he played every game until missing the last 8 due to trade-related reasons. So you're getting a player that's fresh. You're getting a player who's ready and wants to get in the lineup, chomping at the bit, takes a red eye from Dallas, where the Arizona Coyotes were, to New York City, gets in this morning. Dean Brown posting the photo at the hotel that Chychrun has arrived but did not participate in the morning skate. So we're recording this right after DJ Smith and Pierre Dorion have spoken to the media. And we don't know where he's playing tonight. So that's a whole conversation of what we can get into. But I want to know what you think the most important asset on ice that Jakob Chychrun brings to the Ottawa Senators.
Well, honestly, I think it's just that mix of being a two-way defenseman, Ross, because sure, Jake Sanderson, you could argue, is a bit of a two-way defenseman, but he's a rookie. He's still figuring things out, whereas Jakob Chychrun has done an excellent job at both ends of the ice. You mentioned it. People get sucked into the fact, oh, he has all these points. He must be a riverboat gambler type defenseman. But Dmitry Filipovich did a really good video showing all the great defensive plays. And if you're watching it, it might just seem like a bunch of poke checks and it maybe not look that exciting. But when you add in the fact that this is something that Chychrun does consistently, and it's very hard to get past a guy like him entering the zone, and then once he stops the team from getting into the zone, he can carry it out himself. He doesn't need to rely on passing it over to Chabot or dropping it for Chabot and letting the play totally reset. He can do it all on his own. So the fact that Jakob Chychrun is an Ottawa Senator is, I mean, it's
brilliant.
It's a dream come true, honestly. And it may be a hyperbole, but the Sens were missing one coveted piece. They needed a top 4 defenseman. I don't know if Elliot Friedman mentioned that over the last couple of weeks, but
nor of us.
But now we can stop talking about that. He is here.
He is here, and he's here for the foreseeable future. Jakob Chychrun's contract runs until the end of the 2025 season. So all of this year, all of next year, and the year after at $100,000 more than Nikita Zaitsev was due to make this year and next. So let that sink in terms of the value. We don't have to talk about beyond that. That's tomorrow's problem. Today's interest is where he's going to play. Coming up next, we're going to get into that in depth. But for me, Jakob Chychrun is all about the rush defending. Frankly, he's a beast. He's listed at 6'1", 220 pounds. So eliminating plays at the boards, making sure that when he gets that initial positioning, he's able to kick it out into loose space. And he thrives when his partner is the one who's willing to carry the puck up. And the Sens have a pair of those guys, but they also play the left side. So I'm interested. Well, one might move over because actually all 3 play the left side.
Someone's got to move.
Somebody's got to move over from lefty to righty. And we know DJ Smith comes from the Mike Babcock school of thought that every D pair needs a lefty and needs a righty. What if I tell you that Jakob Chychrun's partner in Arizona this year was a lefty who played the right side in Shane Gostisbehere?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, obviously, it would have been ideal to get a right-hand shot, but I think if that's the caveat that you're so focused on, we can move past that. I'm willing to give that up for what Jakob Chychrun brings to this team. And, Ross, there's a certain defenseman on the Ottawa Senators that is a left shot that prefers to play the right-hand side. So there's a clear option here. And we can get into it later. Yeah. But basically what I'm getting at is these are good problems. The Ottawa Senators have so many options now, and I'm interested in a lot of them. So I actually kind of prefer, Ross, that we don't know where Chychrun's going to play, because it's going to be interesting to see what DJ Smith and Jack Capuano cook up here.
It's 11:54 a.m. Eastern time. Do you believe that Jakob Chychrun is in the lineup tonight?
I mean, when you take a red eye like that, I didn't take a red eye, but I know travel issues.
You had red eyes when you got here.
Yeah.
I think he plays. How are you going to tell him he can't? He hasn't played in a month, dude. You know how much he wants to play?
He has not played since February 10th. So this is a guy that's fired up. He's ready to play. No longer held out for trade-related reasons. Let's get him in.
And looking to extend his point streak to 3 games. He had 2 goals 2 games ago and then an assist in his final game with the Arizona Coyotes. An amazing rush defender, a booming slap shot from the point, had 18 goals during the COVID-shortened season. 18 goals. I was just talking yesterday when I did the show solo that the Sens are on pace to have 6 20-goal scorers for the first time since 05-06. Jakob Chychrun 2 years ago had 18 goals. He's at 7 goals, 21 assists in 36 games. And I did some stat compiling here. He's 12th among all NHL defensemen in points per game. 12th.
Wow.
So that's the upper echelon in the top half of the league. He's signed for 2 more years, and he's tied for 38th overall in points. But again, he's played almost half the games. He's like in between Tyson Barrie, who's played 60 games, and he's played 36. So that tells you where he's at. And just a pleasure that he is a member of the Ottawa Senators. All right, let's get into who he's going to play with, and then no easy task tonight. The New York Rangers have been rolling over the last number of months, and they've added Showtime to Broadway. Patrick Kane expected to be in the lineup for the Chicago Blackhawks. Pillzy, we saw Chicago's Patrick Kane just 2 weeks ago light up Ottawa.
I was really hoping not to see Patrick Kane again this season. I was hoping he would go somewhere where the Sens wouldn't have to see him, because he really shattered our dreams and he really kind of ruined our night on the Chris Neil night. But we'll move on.
The Ottawa Senators have scored 19 goals in 3 home games since we went to that one.
Yeah, they have been on a scoring pace, and now they just added a guy on defense who can put the puck in the net too.
And do it all. But who's he going to do it with? We'll get into that next. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Ross, if Pierre Dorion was looking for a top 4 defenseman, he could have used Indeed, although he did pretty well on his own, but Indeed could have made it easier, because if you're hiring, you need Indeed. And their hiring is the easiest place where you can attract, interview, and hire all in the same place. That's what you like to hear. Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications that meet your must-have requirements. So you're not sifting through applications that simply aren't what you're looking for. That's what I love about Indeed. And Indeed spends hours on multiple job sites helping to find candidates with the right skills that you need to find in a powerful hiring partner that can do it all for you. Make it easy on yourself. With Indeed Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post right away, you're going to get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed that match your description, and you can invite them to apply right away. So make sure they know about your job that you're trying to hire for. Start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. This offer is valid through March 31st, so you got a whole month to do it. Go to Indeed.com/lockedon to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/lockedon. That is where the best hiring happens.
Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen on this Thursday, March 2nd edition, where the Ottawa Senators are in New York to take on the New York Rangers. 7 o'clock puck drop. Make sure you're tuned into the postcast after the game. We got a great day planned, Pillzy and I. A little snorkeling, a little whale watching, and then we'll be back watching the game, 5 o'clock Cabo time, cerveza time, and then we'll see you in the postcast.
Mucho cervezas, por favor.
Claro que sí. We appreciate everyone in the chat for their interest and being along with us for this ride. The timing of Jakob Chychrun getting traded to Ottawa is so hilarious to me. But the Ottawa Senators do it, and Pierre Dorion, an all-time press conference today. Can we say? That was all-time.
When Pierre's in a good mood, the things that he says, and the thing I find funny about this, Ross, is I think a lot of these are like planned bits. Like the Debrinka Chipotle franchise joke, like that was one he tested.
He's sitting on,
and he asked his girlfriend if he thought that was funny. She got a laugh out of it, so he used it.
The hugs and high fives for Alex Burrows.
Hugs and high fives. Adopting children, like this guy is.
Wait, what do you mean adopting children?
Well, if you didn't hear, Pierre Dorion mentioned that he already has kids of his own.
2 kids.
2 kids already. But what's one more he said? If he could, he would adopt Tyler Clement. So I mean, you're not gonna trade a guy that you're thinking of adopting. So that's definitely a smart move there. Oh my god,
So good, man. And just like to point out, we're willing to share custody. I feel like we've been on the Tyler Clement train since day one.
He can go, we'll take him on vacation, so he can come to Cabo with us.
Be the fun uncles.
Yeah, the fun uncles, exactly.
Shout out, great family too, the Clevens. Got to meet Chris at a Nodak Sens game. Great family there. Can't wait for Tyler Clement to get to league. But that was an all-time quote right there. And where we know what another one was. Remember where he goes, if Guy Boucher's favorite player is Tom Pyatt, mine's Jean-Gabriel Pageau.
I mean,
and how can we forget the number one? On the 8th day, God created Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, that is all time.
They say on the 7th day, God rested. Well, on the 8th, he created Erik Karlsson. But do not say this around him. Do not say that rest is a weapon.
Rest is a weapon. If I hear that one more time, I'll go crazy.
I bet he's going crazy with joy right now, though. Pierre Dorion must be the happiest GM in the league. This was also a good Pierre Dorion moment, but I actually liked it where he's like, yeah, there are billboards in every city saying the Ottawa Senators are looking for top 4 defensemen.
Yeah, you got to love that. And I mean, not just any top 4 defenseman. Like, there was no better defenseman on the market, especially with term.
Look who got moved. Gavrikov, Ekholm. Those are like the 2 big ones. Orlov.
Congrats to the Canucks for getting Philip Hronek and trading away a first-round pick, huh?
Oh, my God. Talk about leaving a bad taste in the fans' mouths.
Also, we got to talk about this. How about the Ottawa Senators bullying the Red Wings into an immediate seller? Like, they were talking about moving Tyler Bertuzzi, and then Stevie Y says, no, we're in a good position. We can't trade him. 2 games up against your Ottawa Senators and getting embarrassed. Yeah, we better start selling this. This team is not going where we think it is, that's for sure.
They got sensed in the ultimate sense of the word. Now, what do you make of this quote? Andy Scott, Jakob Chychrun's agent, was on TSN 1200 today, and he said that Ottawa is a destination around the league now. He says that Brady Tkachuk's presence has made it a place that players want to play. That is about the most ultimate compliment that you can ever receive for a player or a team.
Well, I think this all starts, Ross, with Claude Giroux coming here in free agency. He was a free agent. He could have gone wherever he wanted, and he chose to come here, and he didn't just say, hey, I'll sign for 1 year. Let's see how this goes. He locked in for 3 years. His family was excited to come here. He's shown that he believes in this core, and he told, as Dorion said, he promised Claude Giroux he would get a defenseman, and he got him. So I think, and then you add in the fact that new ownership's coming in, you're looking at building a new arena. Like, if you come to the Ottawa Senators, you have a chance to be a part of something incredible from the ground up. Like, this is where it all starts now. Like, obviously the acquisitions over the offseason were great, but we all knew without that defenseman, this team really isn't going where they're expecting to go. So now that he's here, honestly, maybe one more rental centerman just to make up for injuries, but this team is where it needs to be.
And to keep us busy here at Locked On Senators, Pillzy, is where your team every day. When a new trade goes down, you know Locked On Senators is going to have you covered right away.
Ross, who else? Find me a podcast that is going on vacation, is giving you this backdrop. I went through travel hell to get here, and we still managed to get you reaction. We're doing this right before our excursion. We got the mimosas going. We are making sure that we are on the job. Because, Ross, for us, like, this isn't a job as much as it is a lifestyle. We're a lifestyle Ottawa Senators podcast. We want to be doing this, and what better place to do it than Cabo? This is amazing.
If you're watching on YouTube, and definitely go subscribe to the channel.
Gotta watch on YouTube.
We're doing our setup. We've got everything all plugged in here at like a restaurant that doesn't open in the morning. And these people are down there. They see the Sens logo. They have no idea what's going on. And the guy looks. He goes, Chychrun, nice pickup. So tons of Canadians, North Americans down here. This is a league-wide story. We're on Locked On Sports today, and they barely ever cover hockey on that show. So we're able to get in the mix. The Senators, they get the biggest fish at the draft.
Yep.
They get the biggest fish in free agency.
Ross, we talk about whale watching. That was the whale of the trade Denmark, other than Timo Meier. But as far as defensively goes, Pierre Dorion went whale hunting, and he got one.
I guess I should take back. Drew wasn't the biggest fish. That was Johnny Gaudreau, but right up there with him.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So unreal. Okay, we've buried the lead of this segment, but let's get to it right away. Who does Jakob Chychrun play with tonight?
I mean, yeah, this is what we went into. There's so many good options here. I think pull up the options for me, Ross. Let me
I'll pull them up on YouTube as well. We put up a poll, and why don't you read the options there while I pull it up?
All right. For those listening, option A, Shabbat Zub, Chychrun Brandstrom, Sanderson Hamonic. Option B, Shabbat Chychrun, Sanderson Hamonic, Brandstrom Zub. Option C, Shabbat Zub, Sanderson Chychrun, Brandstrom Hamonic. Or option D, Shabbat Sanderson, Chychrun Zub, Brandstrom Hamonic.
And then classic Twitter, I get responses being like, none of the above, man. It's got to be this one.
Yeah, you should have done option H, Ross. Terrible poll right there. If you're asking me, I'm going to go with option A. I think that's what makes the most sense. One thing I can tell you for sure, I do not want Shabbat playing on the right side. Next thing I'll tell you, I do not want Sanderson playing on the right side. So that leaves the options of either Jakob Chychrun or Derrick Brassard playing on the right side. One thing I think is important to note, Ross, I think Sens fans got enamored with the whole story that Jakob Chychrun can play the right side and has played the right side. But it's really not that much. When you look at the time on ice played on the right side, we were looking at his heat graphs. You guys know we're big heat graphs and advanced analytics guys, but
big sun and heat guys, big vitamin D guys.
Yeah, that's for sure. But he does his best work on the left side. So to acquire a guy like Jakob Chychrun and not use him at his best spot, like to not set him up to succeed, seems silly to me. So that leaves us with the option of moving Derrick Brassard to the right side, a guy who has made it publicly known he prefers to play on his right side. So I think that's the easy choice here. I'm going to go with option A, and that's Shabbat Zub, Chychrun Brandstrom, and then Sanderson Hamonic, because Sanderson likes playing with Hamonic. Keep it like that. Shabbat Zub, although I don't love them as a top pair, I think it can work. And then Chychrun and Brandstrom, I think, is a really great pair because Branny, sure, the points aren't there, but he's looked really good and he's really improved his game. And I think him and Chychrun can be a nice combo. So that's what I'm going with.
I think
to start.
A lot of the fan base that's kind of been told, and rightfully so, this team needs a right-hand defenseman, a right shot, right side. They're just throwing Chychrun over on the right side and just leaving the rest of the top four as is, demoting Hamonic and then having Hamonic and Brandstrom as the bottom pair. That's overwhelming majority through 1,000 votes on Twitter, 1,400 votes. 67% would prefer to see Shabbat Zub, Sanderson, Chychrun. But I'm in the minority, and I'll battle you. I like A as well. I think Brandstrom kind of resembles Gostisbehere and what he's doing, kind of a riverboat gambler. But I also think that Shabbat has been carrying around Nikita Zaitsev for so long, was paired with Ron Hainsey before that. Give this guy a talented player
I like that.
to stay beside and then see what that does for Shabbat's game. And again, Chychrun moving over to the right is probably not my number one priority if I can avoid it, at least to get him comfortable in a new setting. He's already having so much change. So Brandstrom would be the easy one for me to just slide over. But you can't go wrong. And even I know Jordy and a few others mentioned option E, where you have Branny and Hamonic as the third pair, Sanderson with Zub, and then you keep Sandy on the left side as well. And then, but that moves Chychrun to the right with Shabbat, which again is part of option B as well. So there's a lot of options, and I think DJ Smith's going to have some fun today.
Well, and that's why it's so important that they got Chychrun, I don't want to say ASAP, but once the price
18 months later.
Exactly. But I want to say ASAP in the sense of once the price was adjusted, Dorion said it happened within 24 hours because you need this guy playing. You need to try different things out. You need to see what works, what doesn't. And with a guy like Chychrun who hasn't played in a while and he's got term, get him going here. Get him going. So honestly, there's no wrong answer in my mind.
Get him going. Let us know in the comments who you want to see Jakob Chychrun play with when he starts his Senators career tonight, expected in Madison Square Garden. More on that game coming up. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Guys, if you want to get some action on tonight's game versus the New York Rangers, the best place to do it is FanDuel. Why? Well, they're the number one sportsbook in North America. Is that good? I think so. They're an official partner of the Locked On Senators podcast and an official partner of the NFL. And for our friends down in the States, new customers, you can join today and get started with a $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do, sign up at fanduel.com/lockedon. FanDuel's got all your favorite bets from money lines, point spreads to player props. And guys, I've been pumping this one up. First to 5 shots. The Sens have hit that in multiple games in a row. So that's one that I'm riding on. And that's a fun one to get started with the game. And you can also get a bigger chance at bigger payouts with same game parlays. So head to the app today. I love the app. It's simple, safe, secure, easy to use, and they got so much fun options on there. You got to check it out. So one more time, guys, place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose at fanduel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Today's episode is also brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. It's our neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe. Visit them at 779 Bank Street and make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. They're closed this weekend, but for good reason. The Glebe Central Pub is upgrading their look, so go find out how smooth the new bar top looks. The food's still going to be delicious. The drink's still ice cold with immaculate service and interactive games, open mics, karaoke's, all of the great stuff that you expect from your local neighborhood establishment. It's all at the Glebe Central Pub. Find them at 779 Bank Street, and when you go, make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. It already feels like too long since we've been at the Glebe Central Pub. We got to get back to the Glebe Central Pub. We'll see you at the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. A reminder that Locked On Senators sent you. Let them know. Have a good time at the Glebe Central Pub. All right, Pillzy. We'll see you everyone in the postcast. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Full trade deadline preview, or do we record after the deadline? What's the play tomorrow?
No, let's feel out the vibes. We're I don't know if you've noticed, but we are a vibes podcast, so we'll see how it's going, and we'll make a decision there. But it's great that Jakob Chychrun, that deal's already done.
And we're going to see where he plays tonight. No lineup graphics because we don't know. We just went through some of the options, but up front, it's all going to remain the same. Derrick Brassard. What's your favorite Derrick Brassard memory? When you think of him as an Ottawa Senator, what comes to mind?
I mean, it's tough because there is a lot of them, and this is his second stint as an Ottawa Senator. Oddly, Ross, the one thing that stands out to me isn't exactly a play, but I forget which season it is. You're better with remembering the years, but at the end of the year, Pierre Dorion mentioned that Derrick Brassard was their best all-round player, and we kind of laughed at that, but he went into the advanced analytics. He went into what he brought to the table, and he was just such an important part. Obviously, you don't love seeing Zibanejad have an amazing career with the New York Rangers, but Derrick Brassard did play an important role with the Ottawa Senators and continues to play an important role. Like, if you look at this team without Derrick Brassard, like when Josh Norris had been injured and they didn't have much depth here, he's really come in and he's fulfilled his role from a PTO on a minimum contract. He's done a great job, and I believe he's one of those guys like Claude Giroux that has been an important veteran that younger guys like Thomas Chabot, Brady Tkachuk, Timmy Stützle can lean on as they lend their experience of what it is to go through a grind of an 82-game season.
And we talk so much. I'll get to my favorite memory of Derrick Brassard in just a minute, but how much do we talk about this team needing depth scoring? In his last 11 games, Derrick Brassard has 8 points, and 6 of them are at even strength.
Yep.
Like, this guy is contributing, and he was in over his head, and nobody would expect otherwise when he was forced to play first-line center, let alone second. When I was at the 5-1 beatdown in Winnipeg, he was playing top-line center. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. He's a veteran. He knows, all right, maybe this isn't where I should be, but I'll do what I need to do for the team.
And you don't need to look any further than Pierre Dorion's press conference today. We laugh at it. It's great banter and it's great. But what his answer on Derrick Brassard is everything. about what he is as a hockey player, what he is as a person. And I just want to echo those statements. Meth's hopefully going to join us tomorrow. We're just got to make sure the time from Cabo to Regina. Who's laughing at location now, Meth? So we'll have some fun with Meth on that afterwards. But this is just a very well-deserved honor for Derrick Brassard. He battled through the uncertainty of coming to a PTO, only wanted to be in Ottawa. Hey, that's a theme. They wanted to be in Ottawa. We want players that want to be in Ottawa. Another great Pierre Dorion quote.
Just like Nikita Zaitsev waived his no trade clause because he wanted to be in Ottawa. Just like Ron Hainsey wanted to be in Ottawa.
That's an all-time press conference moment there as well. But we're excited to see Derrick Brassard tonight. How cool was it? They made him a healthy scratch during this 11-game run, but that was definitely with his blessing that game 1,000 would be at Madison Square Garden. And then on Saturday, when they honor him in Ottawa, they have Columbus, the team that drafted him.
So sometimes things just work out, and that's one of those things. So we're very happy for Derrick Brassard, and he's someone that's earned this for sure.
254 of his 1,000 games came with the New York Rangers, the most of any team he spent time with.
Wow.
Second, who do you think was second? Or sorry, never mind. I lied. Columbus was first.
Okay, I was going to say, I would have thought Columbus would be up there.
309 games in Columbus, 254 in New York. Tonight will be 188 in Ottawa. We'll be here the rest of the show if we do every other team, because he did a little bit of a league tour at the National Hockey League level. But he has 211 goals, 330 assists. The next milestone, 550 points. He's 9 away. Does he get 9 points the rest of the year? That's a good number to set. 8.5.
That's a good over-under, yeah. You know what? For vibes, yeah, he does it.
Yeah, screw it.
Of course. him and Claude Giroux, same night.
No, hey, do they play one of his, do they play Columbus in New York? Or he's already kind of used his
he's
nostalgia?
Used that up. Yeah.
So maybe
he's got 8 other
Panthers?
teams that he could hit.
Panthers?
Yeah,
with his 10 games played with them? Or make it full circle, make it Pittsburgh, who Ottawa traded, and then he's just doing it. It's like he's going around the circle. Again, Cam Talbot starts for the Sens. You like that decision?
Yeah, I do like that decision. I think at this point, the Ottawa Senators can't trade Cam Talbot with the goalie market the carousel already happening, Quick moving, Korpisalo moving. It seems like Vegas is going to try to acquire Quick from everything I know. So Vegas and the Kings were the two teams that would be looking to acquire a goalie. But then if you trade Cam Talbot, you got to acquire someone else. So I think the carousel has spun and it's stopped. Even if Cam Talbot isn't interested in an extension, you got to sign him. So get him playing in these important games here.
Meaningful games.
Cam
Talbot, Mads Søgaard, rest of the year. You're comfortable with that?
Yeah, you know what? I am. And Ross?
Rookie of the month.
Yes, rookie of the month, Mads Søgaard. And I mean, even if I wasn't comfortable with that, too bad. That's what the Sens have to do right now. And Mads Søgaard has shown that he can step up and he can properly be a backup goalie, at least for the rest of the year in the NHL. And Cam Talbot, he was a little bit upset in Minnesota that he didn't have the opportunity to be the guy. Well, you're the guy now. You need to show that you can get it done, and you need to have that veteran experience to lead this team throughout these games. And Ross, last season at the end of the stretch, he had to have been the hottest goalie in the entire league. I'm pretty sure he went 15-1-1 in his last 17 games with the Wild at the end of the season. So let's hope he can have that Hamburglar style run here. We were talking about the Hamburglar run. Everyone thought Søgaard or Mandalese. Well, Cam Talbot pretty much did that last season.
So Cam Talbot went 17-4-3 in his last 25 games, but that was 4-game win streak, then a 4-game losing streak. So you're 13-0-3 in his last 17 games. Last season, a .917 save percentage over that span. And the Senators are home on Saturday. We don't have to talk about goaltending then, but I think we just see how Cam Talbot does tonight and go from there. The game's at 7 o'clock. We'll see you in the postcast. Pillzy, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts are, Ross, if you would have told me in 2017, when we started making sense of the Sens, powered by Sens Central, in the basement of the College of Sports Media, that we would be breaking down a Jakob Chychrun acquisition
for Pierre Dorion to fulfill his promise to Claude Giroux.
Yeah. In Cabo on your bachelor trip, I would have said, get out of here. You are losing your mind once again, Ross. But here we are. I mean, I'm honestly speechless. Life is very good right now. And we couldn't do any of this without you guys. So thank you very much for following along.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it any better. If you told me at that point that I would be getting married right now, I would have said, you're losing your mind again. Shout out to Rage holding down back in Winnipeg. But we appreciate you guys so much for making us your first listen each and every day. We'll be back with the postcast. The vibes will be high.
Oh, yeah.
Pillzy will give an animated bibliography of all the fish we see today snorkeling.
Yeah. I'll make sure to get my Pokedex out for fish here.
And even if we do not see any whales, we're going to have a whale of a time in the postcast. So make sure you join us live or
There's some birds right there.
or find us on your favorite audio podcast platform. And for up-to-the-minute stats, news, analysis, why don't you go check out Locked On Coyotes? Give them a thoughts and prayers in the comments. That's a long-awaited nightmare for them. We've been through it before. Big-time players leaving. It sucks. So go show some support to Locked On Coyotes, Locked On NHL. We'll be back in the postcast. Hey, zip it. We're talking over here. This has been Pillzy. Great show. That's a great final thought as well. Enjoy, everyone. Jakob Chychrun's first game with the Ottawa Senators. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.